Are we expecting a left-armed seamer making his debut in the second test? KL Rahul, do you think he can retain his spot in the second test? In the press conference itself said, we are not scared of India, we're here to win. Did they lose the game itself at the toss on day one?
Shakib's absence is going to be a major, blow to Bangladesh, of what I mean.
How many days will this test match wrap up? How many days will this test match?
2.5 days for me.
2.5 days, India to bat. With a 1-0 lead in the 2-match test series versus Bangladesh, Team India now moves on from Chennai to Kanpur. Shall we say it was India versus Bangladesh, or was it Ravichandran Ashwin versus Bangladesh with both bat and ball? We'll come into that in depth. As you can see, 3 fans out here all in readiness. Rohan, Gian and Orko. I'll start with the person that is wearing the India jersey apart from me as well. Gian, welcome to the show after a long time. First of all, say Ashwin the batter at his home ground, under pressure, how did he cope up to the conditions and prove something different, to be honest?
Ashwin at Chepauk is a match made in heaven, if you ask me. I mean, the hometown hero, and I think he's not done it for the first time. And when India were in trouble at Chepauk, we go back to 2021 against England, when we were railing like 20 for 3 or something, and and one of the 2 quick wickets fell, and we were into very deep trouble, and we thought we might succumb out for some, maybe 100 or 150 odd runs. But then he walked in, changed the entire complexion of the game, and then he took to a very reasonable, respectable total. And I think the same thing happened now also. The top order, failed. Like I said, Rohit got out cheaply, Gill and Virat. All 3 our main batters got out cheaply, with Yashasvi, hanging on the other hand, will trying to build a slow partnership, and Rishabh couldn't get going, KL couldn't get going, and then walked in Ravichandran Ashwin and Ravindra Jadeja. I mean, how often have we spoken about Ashwin Jadeja, in home conditions especially? And I think 2 of the most priceless diamonds in our test squad, and they have, come out with, I don't know, I've lost count now that how many times they have, rescued us. The bat with the ball, with the field.
Absolutely. In home conditions, in all the 3 departments, we have lost count, to be honest. But when we talk about having someone back onto the field, Orko, Rishabh Pant, how well did he announce his comeback into the Indian side? His favorite format, as he said, and absolutely with a bang, in the way he always loves to play, his way on in the second innings, getting boundaries, getting sixes, hitting shots behind fine leg as well. We missed him, to be honest.
Absolutely. I think because of the audacious nature that he has, the approach that he shows for the game, Indian team really missed him badly, because we did try a few options like Bharat, and also for a matter of time Jurel as well. Of course, Jurel did well, but certainly the flamboyance of Pant and the consistency with which he shows that flamboyance is very, mouth-watering, to be honest. And we have missed that for quite a while. And it's good that we got him back, and I think good days are going to continue for him.
Absolutely, and that's what we hope for, because we have got him in the right time. He played a 1 Duleep Trophy game, as Rohit Sharma mentioned, has got back his form, and now has scored 100, 3 figures mark. Rohan, coming to you now. We have always spoken, you have spoken about Ashwin and who could be his successor, but I think there is no matching the duo of Ravichandran Ashwin and Ravindra Jadeja in Indian conditions. Now I can say with the bat as well, and we have seen it before as well, but not just with the ball, but also with the bat.
See, especially in home conditions for India, with these 2 guys you mentioned, it's like we are playing with 2 extra guys against the opposition. We are batting till number 8 or 9. If you add Axar also to this, we are actually advantageous position compared to the opposition, because you feel maybe you got the top order out, but the real batting is yet to come for India, lower down the order, and we end up getting those par plus scores because of these guys. And add on their bowling skills on these pitches, they are match winners on their own in that one department itself. So overall, I think these guys impact. I think there's a saying, when you have something, you don't know the value of it. So until these guys maybe retire or whatever, we'll not know the void that these guys may create, because it's completely precious, as we just spoke about, because Jadeja, Ashwin, Akshar, even Saha before them, add on Pant now. The lower order is what is really giving that little extra muscle and flex to this Indian batting. And once this top order also clicks, it's going to be a absolute nightmare for any opposition team. Like, how do you contain this team? So I think these 2 guys have been gems. The Chennai connection with both of them, I think the energy they draw from the crowd and the ground, maybe because of familiarity with it and grown up on this, as Ash keeps on saying, I think they wanted to do something special. They got a challenge in front of them. I think these kind of challenges is what makes these guys the players they are. Under pressure, they want to deliver for the team, and all the fans, rightfully of the team India and the local Chennai crowd, were just put to an absolute treat by these two guys. The sword waving and the celebrations, everything was taken to an absolute great spin.
Absolutely. That's the reason why we lead the series 1-0. Jian, a team that went away from home, won 2-0 against Pakistan, coming with a full confidence. In the press conference itself, said, "We are not scared of India. We're here to win." Did they lose the game itself at the toss on day one?
They didn't lose the game at the toss. They, I think, lost the series at the press conference only. Because the thing is, I think Shanto misunderstood the, I think, the conditions, the pitch, what exactly was there in Pakistan and what it is in India. Pakistan, you can see it was a completely green turnout. It was the conditions were overcast, and it was seen also the pacers were getting good movement, and there was a lot of swing, and even in the day 4, day 5, the batting was fine. Like we saw Bangladesh even chase down that target in the first test. So I think it really doesn't really it's not really too appealing to me what how Shanto approached that press conference. I think they misunderstood. I think they did use the same tactics, winning the toss. I think they had a golden opportunity to opt to bat first, but I
Absolutely.
think they went to like bowl first and maybe thought that we'll do the same thing what we did with Pakistan. But again, if you think in sensibly, and if they had gone behind and seen the stats that winning the toss and bowling it like batting fourth in Chennai is absolutely next to impossible. And
Exactly.
obviously with the likes of Ashwin Jadeja in the 11, I feel it's terrible. It's a very terrible.
No, Pritham, to add on to what Jan said, I think they misunderstood the conditions in the sense the Chennai heat during the afternoon time. I think they were not used to it, and the bowlers, the complete energy levels was down. I think both Jaddu and Ash kind of capitalized on that. Even though we were at 140 odd for six, I think the weather also played its part in draining the Bangladeshi spirit. I felt.
Absolutely. And that's where I was coming to the next question to Orko as well. 140 was six. Were they all over the moon as well? And similarly, playing similar to India, playing with three seamers, did they miscalculate their formation in the playing 11 as well?
Well, they did, and to be honest, because Shakib is not in great bowling form, and also I've heard that he has been nursing a little finger injury, has some shoulder issues as well. So
As
I
well as
think
he
that
was suffering with an eye issue as well.
eye issue as well, and also many people may also attribute to the fact that there's been a lot of political drama going around in
Absolutely.
his life, and such things does shake a person. But that being said, he being that experienced, you expect him to bounce back hard. But of course, his fitness was never up to the mark. I think they dropped Taijul and they didn't really use another spinner apart from Mehidy because Shakib wasn't bowling too often. But I think they miscalculated the playing 11 as well. And as Jehan rightly said, it's also the toss that they badly messed up because, they thought that the overcast conditions coming into the game, the first 1 or 2 hours of rain or, moist conditions would help them capitalize. And they did capitalize it largely, but then they just gave it away to India because Ashwin and Jadeja were all over.
Okay, so they just gave it away to India, and that's what we thought as well. But Najmul and Shanto and his captaincy, Rohan, did it impress you once again, as you mentioned before, in the heat of Chennai, with the Chennai crowd and the quality and class of Team India, everything just went without out of plan.
I also feel they were a bit underprepared. They didn't quite read the conditions well. As Akko rightly said, the playing 11 also was a question mark because at the Chennai Heat, we do know, even though the first session or the couple of sessions, there was some help for the seamers and they largely bought about 40-45 overs of the seam. The spinners will be the ones that will at least give you a control from one end and you could rotate the bowlers, the seamers. But I think that kind of planning was missing from Shanto and even the energy levels of the fielders. I think he needed as a captain to G them up. I think the third session when India completely took a counter-attacking approach, I think almost scored about 160 odd runs in that session for
Yeah.
no wicket loss. I think that kind of tilted the balance in India's favor, and from then on, India just didn't let go of that opportunity. I think that's where he really messed it up. And even with the bat, I think they were a bit unsure what to do. They were very tentative, poking at it, didn't quite gauge up to the standards what they expected because I think someone like Akash Deep really rattled them well. I don't think they were really up for it in preparation time totally. So I think complete as overall setup, all that bravado in the press conference, etc. I think on field it did quite materialize from captaincy standpoint itself.
True that they were probably prepared for a Bumrah and a Siraj spell, but Akashdeep I think came out of syllabus. And how brilliantly did he bowl? I must tell you, that's kudos to that. But Orko, Shubman Gill has probably
Mhm.
silenced his critics. I must tell you because he was somebody we were thinking of not having him at number three because we have the big BGT coming up. But he has been a second innings player to be honest in Test match cricket. All his hundreds are coming in second innings. Is he now got back the much needed runs under his belt before we move on to the big ones, Kiwis, and then moving on to the big one against Australia?
Well, certainly, and also keeping in mind that he has a good record in BGT in the past, so certainly he would want to, go into to that series with a bit of confidence. And given the recent approach of India being a more run-specific approach, I think someone like a Gill, who is very good at accumulating, rotating the strike, would only be key. It's good that they have slowly, looked at the future, moved on from someone like a Pujara who believes in staying in the crease rather than accumulating runs. But on the other hand, Gill has really done pretty well, and it's good signs for India looking ahead. And I think the upcoming series also would become very crucial for Gill as well as India's chances.
True that, and it's going to be really, really important. I must tell you, and that's what I am thinking as well. But Rohan, the vast experience of Rohit Sharma and you have Virat Kohli, little bit of short of runs in Indian conditions ahead of that. If we look into a little bit bigger picture of that series versus Australia, they need a little bit of more runs. I must tell you under the belt.
I think Pritham two are absolutely fabulous, great players, man. They know when to deliver when the time comes. I think both have proved time and again in all formats. So I think we should not be worried too much about these little things. They need a challenge. Once a contest comes up from the other side, a bowler kind of a chit chat happens or something in the field. I think you'll see the best of both of them, especially Virat. Definitely, we know him. As soon as he sees the Aussies on the other side, I think a different Virat will turn up.
True that.
Rohit, I think bit technically some deficiency has come in. I think against the swing ball just outside off stump, he's been opened up both the innings. I think standing what Jaiswal did, standing a couple of
Feet
steps
outside the
outside the
crease.
crease to negate the little bit of swing. I think if he just crosses that half an hour mark, I think we know how Rohit also will dominate the opposition and pretty much set up the test match in the first session itself. So I think we not look too much into these two guys' performance. We know they're champions. When the time comes, they will step up definitely.
Absolutely. The time comes, these two legends will definitely step up. Orko said about Shubman Gill as well. Gian, coming to you. Just one knock, one innings only he could get in the first test. KL Rahul, do you think he can retain his spot in the second test?
See, if you see Gautam Gambhir's press conference, what he has clearly said that they are going to be putting like their main focus is going to be on the seniors. I am not a very big KL admirer, but given the thing is he has been performing well in overseas. Like he had a good outing in South Africa twice. England he had been quite handy, so you can't rule him out. But I think it's unfair for him to play in a different position because we have seen him open in Test matches various perform. But I think yeah, he'll be back definitely because Jurel and Sarfaraz, both
Sarfaraz
of
is
them
there.
they haven't done anything wrong. Definitely, they had a brilliant series against England, especially Sarfaraz and even Jurel for that matter. Even behind the stumps, he was quite quick. His technique was good. He hardly made any errors, and he was looking promising when he was batting. Also, that I think that he was very unlucky, very unlucky to miss out on 100. And it would have been a brilliant same for Sarfaraz. I think that ran out in the debut against England. I think so, but they're not. But again, as Gambhir mentioned, I think if they are going to give priority to the seniors, I think it's difficult to get Sarfaraz or get
Today.
Jurel in the 11s. But yeah, if another string of low scores come in, like if KL doesn't perform now in the two innings, and even if he gets picked in the New Zealand Test series, and if he doesn't perform in the first Test, I think they have to look for options in the middle order definitely.
Okay, so you're saying that he needs to score runs despite being one of the seniors in this camp. Okay, fair enough. But coming to you, Orko, now, as announced, probably red soil pitch is what we expect at Kanpur too. So you're going with a different combination when it comes to Team India and its playing 11.
Well, I think they will not really look to tinker their playing 11 much, to be honest, because they are already fresh from a win. We know that Kanpur has a history of being a bit pace friendly. It, has its first few hours trying to, for people who actually struggle against pace and swing, they will have a bit of a problem. And Bangladesh's top order is no stranger to that. And I think people like Bumrah, Siraj, and even Akash, they would capitalize on that. And I think that these three should be back even for this test. And, looking ahead, they would want to, get the series in the bag as soon as possible.
Absolutely, not. That's what I expect the same as well. But moving on to Rohan now. Rohan, what do you expect from Team India's approach? What will it be? Because earlier in the show as well, when we did about the first test, Gurpalji said you shouldn't ask about the predictions for the series. It will definitely be 2-0. You should rather ask how many days will the test match take to finish up. It finished up in the morning session on day 4, and I think he was bang on correct. We'd expect the same on day 2 as well, second test as well. But will Bangladesh make the same error, win the toss bowl first once again?
See, it's a different venue again, Pritham. Kanpur up north, just bit of monsoon is still lingering around. I think there'll be some more sea movement there for sure, but the temperature will be slightly milder than what Chennai was, man. Definitely, the humidity levels will be much much lesser. But again, I'm not sure it'll be a red soil or a black soil pitch because traditionally Kanpur has been a black soil pitch
Yeah.
oriented a lot more, which will mean slightly slow ones and low bounce. So the bowlers will have to bend their back a lot more. But definitely early morning in the first session, there'll be some movement around for the seamers. They'll be more threatening, but maybe towards the second half of the day, the spinners can definitely come into play. But I feel India should rotate a lot more because for me, it's this season it's divided into two: the 5 away tests in Australia, the 5 tests at home, Bangladesh and New Zealand. We need to keep our main players, the bowlers, especially a Jassi or a Siraj,
Yeah.
bit more fresher because immediately the next test will be in Bangalore here in against New Zealand. I think there maybe one odd test, a Siraj can play, a Jassi can come back at the Wankhede maybe perhaps. But because for us, the next in line bowlers like Akashdeep, Yash Dayal, maybe these guys also should get good amount of game time and be prepared for test scratch cricket. The grind of it basically, in case any of these guys will have out of form injuries, which has been our case at times. So we want these guys to be prepared rather than being thrown at the deep end at the Australians who may like to feed on the newcomers, and let's not give them any opportunity. Let our players all be good, tried and tested guys. So I feel a couple of changes here and there would be benefiting this Indian team in Kanpur.
Okay, but just like you said, Gautam Gambhir and you like this squad should be rotated. Are we expecting a left-arm seamer making his debut in the second test?
Homeboy, I think he should. Yash Dayal is a UP boy. I think he can play. Someone like Kuldeep can come in. He's also a local guy. It depends whom they'll replace because we never know. It'll be it's out of form or a niggle that can come in at last moment that we know at times. So you never know who can it be. But I don't mind as long as it's been rotated and these guys get a game.
Okay, fair enough. So you're not minding. We will see that. But when it comes to the players to watch out for, now let's move on slowly one by one. Orko, first of all, coming on to the players to watch out for India. I think we have spoken more or less about the batters. Without a doubt, the two spinners, Ashwin, Jadeja, they are no-brainers. But I want to see a little bit of KL Rahul, to be honest, first of all, getting some runs under his belt. Virat Kohli is another one. And maybe a little bit of more of somebody like an Akashdeep.
Yeah, certainly. These people have to step up. And of course, Akashdeep has done well with the ball with his limited opportunities. He has been performing pretty well. And I know that he's someone who plays second fiddle to the likes of Siraj and Bumrah. But that third seamer doing well is also very crucial, especially when you go into, important tours like in Australia where it's more pace friendly. So if he has to do well over here, obviously he will get his chances over there as well. And that will be good signs for Indian cricket looking ahead. And KL Rahul, of course, a lot of runs are required from him. And of course, it's pretty disappointing that someone who has done so well in much difficult conditions like in South Africa is struggling over here for quite a significant period. So he has to step up pretty soon. Otherwise, that door of exit is coming knocking very soon because Sarfaraz and Gill have done nothing wrong yet. So they certainly would look to I to grab that spot going into the Border Gavaskar Trophy.
100%. So Zian and Norco more or less are saying the same. The door is knocking when it comes to KL Rahul and scoring runs. Moving on to the visitors. And Gian, coming to you, what about the visitors and the three players to watch out for? First of all, Shakib, because I think he underbowled a little bit. Don't know, I'm not sure about the injuries, but I think he underbowled a little bit, but batted well. Shakib is somebody I would like to watch out for. Litton Das, beauties of a delivery, but still, I think he has to score runs because he was the man in form in Pakistan. Somebody there as well. They're missing the services of Shoriful badly, but the senior pro of Taskin Ahmed, I think he has to take responsibilities on his shoulders as well.
Definitely. I think these three names, as you mentioned, but as I said, Shakib is 50-50 for the game. I mean, we have heard that he might play, might not play. So it's still unknown. But yeah, obviously, I mean, if he's not there, it's a big blow for Bangladesh. I mean, he has been there, one of the key pillars in whatever Bangladesh has got success so far. And Mushfiqur Rahim, of course, a good player of the spin. And of course, he would be like having a nightmare of Ravichandran Ashwin now, dismissing him 5 to 6 times already. But another player I think to watch out for from Bangladesh is going to be Mehdi Hasan Miraz.
Mehidy Hasan
He has
Miraz, yeah.
given our players a very tough time in the past, and
So are
especially
you
in the white
referring back
ball.
to the home
Yeah, yeah,
series of
yeah.
Bangladesh versus
Yeah,
India? Okay.
yeah, it is not only that, but see, this guy can build partnerships with the tail. We have seen him doing that. He can rotate strike. He can score those runs, which you can say the bonus runs, the 40-50 runs, which hurt hurt an opposition which is bowling and who's unable to clean up the tail. So it becomes that this, and he is also very good off spinner. Of course, he bowls a lot of overs. He can get you wickets. He's taken fifers. He's taken a few tenfers also in the past. So a very good bowling all rounder according to me. And yeah, I mean, obviously we have the batters to play off him and play him out, but he can do something like if even if Bangladesh is 7 down, 8 down, and he can build a
Yeah.
small 30-40 run partnership, and it can add a lot of pressure.
True that, because the last time, as you added, the last time Bangladesh and Pakistan faced in second test, Bangladesh were down to 49 for 7. From there, they ended up scoring 300 plus with this partnership of Litton Das and Mehidy and Miraz. That's where you talk about the contribution with the bat. Rohan, coming to you, a little bit good point which Orko had mentioned about Akashdeep and the second fiddle he's playing behind Siraj and Bumrah. You will have Shami coming back soon. You will have Yas Dayal already in part of the team. You have the recently concluded Dilip Trophy. Anshul Kamboj performing well. Vidwat Kabirappa performing them. Mukesh Kumar still in Bengal and he has to perform as such a bunch of fast bowling units we have now. So many good to have. But if you're giving the captains that, the selectors had to pick 4 to 5 maximum pacers for the Border Gavaskar Trophy. I'm giving you a tough job. What are your selections?
You're adding a couple more. I'll say Shardul Thakur because of his batting abilities,
Ooh.
that performance he had last time in Australia as well.
And
Because
now
when
we are
we
hearing Hardik Pandya is asked
exactly, I
to
was
play the
coming to
Ranji
Hardik.
Trophy as well.
Add someone like a Navdeep Saini, because these guys can contribute in other department as well, and they have the experience of Australian conditions. Hardik, if you fit, I'm not sure of the entire series, but at least a couple of test venues like a Perth or
Absolutely.
Adelaide,
Gabba.
even with a pink ball test. If
Yep.
his role is to do well for those two tests, I think the other pitches can others can rotate, like both the spinners of our all-rounders, Jadeja and Ash, can play at Melbourne and Sydney. So I think that's where the rotation policy is required. Someone like a Dayal or a Mukesh, as you said, is pretty good, hits the seam consistently and can trouble anyone his channel outside the off stump. Definitely Akashdeep is slightly different, where he attacks the stumps a lot more. I think in Sena countries he needs to shift it a little more outside off to be more successful. Definitely in Indian conditions, because of this skiddy nature, just like how Shami was, he can get to those LBWs and bolts a lot more often and doesn't rely a lot on the fielders close by. So I think Akashdeep's strength is that. Just like how Shami came on early on, I remember him knocking the stumps at Eden Gardens against the West
Yeah.
Indies. He was getting that reverse beautifully. I think that's what Akashdeep's strength is too. So I think you need to utilize each bowler's strength for those particular conditions and the opposition as well. I think if you use that wisely, I think all these guys, a bunch of talented
Mm.
pacers that we have, I think, and even across formats, I think all of them will get their due rightly.
Okay, but if in I'm sticking to the questions, just like you have to pick 5 paces. I'm keeping Bumrah, Siraj, and Shami as mandatory.
Yeah.
What are the other two?
I think right now, if yes, Dayal gets a game at Kanpur, I think that may give him a little more edge, like how he stands apart, because he's a left armer. I think he can use to be creating the rough also for someone like Ashwin at Australian conditions, because those pitches do kind of have that wear and tear outside off stump. If a left armer can keep banging away there, along with someone like Mitchell Stark's foot marks as well. So I think that will help our bowlers if we get the right side of the toss at times. So that will be one guy to watch out for, being a left arm seamer. And the other seamer, maybe it's a toss up between Akashdeep and Mukesh, because of his
Yeah.
experience a little bit more. I think I might nudge towards a Mukesh more than Akashdeep for Australian condition, but in India, I think a little edge more to Akashdeep because of his
Hitting the
tendency
deck
to
hard.
hit the stumps. Yeah.
Mm.
Okay, so you're going with yes, Dayal and Mukesh Kumar as the fourth and the fifth. Gianna, you're agreeing with the same.
Yes, I think yes, Dayal is going to be a crucial part if he has Rohan mentioned that if he's picked in the Kanpur test, because the thing is we have been missing this left arm pacer factor in the test setup, especially for a long time. I mean, the last player we had tentatively was Natarajan. I think he was picked last minute because of too many COVID cases in our
Yeah.
squad and even with the injuries. So he had to be picked, and he was pretty good. And we have seen how left-handers are crucial in on Australian pitches, especially with the likes of Stark. With that time, there was Mitchell Johnson, there was Doggy Bollinger. These guys have done brilliantly with the ball, especially with the left-handed. Yeah, and the last like proper left-handed pacer I think I remember was Zahir Khan, Irfan Pathan in our Test 11, and we saw what they used to do, like the swings, and it's always a joy to watch left-handed pacers. I think Yash Dayal has that in him. He has that good ball, like a body frame. He has a good line and length. He has that pace also. I think he can be that X factor definitely. And yeah, I think as he said, Akashdeep, he has also done nothing wrong, and he has not been spoken of,
Yeah.
especially in this, even in the debut he made versus England, and now also
England, yeah.
Against Bangladesh. Dilip Trophy in his first match, he got 9 wickets, and so I think he's a bowler who's not been spoken of too often, because with the
True
likes of
that.
Bumrah, we have Bumrah, Siraj, and Mohammad Shami. You have those three pacers front, like fiery pacers. If Akashdeep can, get he can be kind of a bowler, who can, we can rest Bumrah for a couple of like 10, 12 overs. You can get in Akashdeep in between. We know Akashdeep can get that breakthrough. So I think that 2 wicket spell, whatever for 2 or 3 wicket spell, he got back to back wickets I think that is also very underspoken of, because that was a ripper of a delivery. Both of them,
True that.
literally, they were unplayable, literally unplayable.
Absolutely. So you're also sticking to the same which Rohan said. Orko, you
Yeah.
had this coach recently in the IPL who won you the IPL as well. You know him how much he loves left arm seamers. So are you sticking with the same two picks which Rohan and Gian has made, Yas Dayal and Mukesh Kumar / Akashdeep for the Border Gavaskar Trophy?
Yeah, absolutely. I think Mukesh obviously is a bit more tested, and he has also done well in that particular channel, keeping that outside of stump kind of deliveries with the seam movement and positioning that he has. I think he'll certainly be key in Australian conditions. And as Jehan rightly said, Akashdeep's contributions would be something that they need to look at. He's been understated largely, but he becomes crucial, especially with the kind of approach Australia has, because I'm hearing that Travis Head may open. So we never know that Travis Head is going to go hard even in this format. And if you have someone who bowls wicket to wicket, at some point of time he may
Yeah.
knock the stumps over, and that's game over for Australia right there. So I think people like Akashdeep need to be there, if not in the playing 11, but at least in the reserves. And yes, as Mukesh is someone who has also been doing well in recent times, of course not in this series yet, but he has been someone who has done well in the recent past for India. So I think he'll be in the flight to Australia as well.
Okay, so you all are saying the same, and I think that's the best pick for now, to be honest, when it comes to India. But Orko, sticking to you guys once again, any changes for Team India from the first test playing 11?
Well, not much, but if they do look to rest someone like a Bumrah, keeping in mind that they need to be fresh for the Border Gavaskar Trophy, maybe not risk him too much in the New Zealand tour as well. I think they may look at Dayal because, again, he's a local boy. So is Kuldeep. So if they want to add an extra spinner with a bit more variety, then they may look at Kuldeep or get Axar some game time, though Jadeja gives the same skill set. But I think Kuldeep and Dayal could get their chances this time around.
Okay, so Kuldeep or Dayal for you. Rohan, to you. Similarly, rest Bumrah first of all.
Either, I think either Jassi or Siraj, one of them can sit out and get because Akashdeep will be your second seamer along with those guys. Get in a third spinner in Kuldeep. I would have been looking at Akshar, but because it's a black soil pitch,
Yeah.
maybe you need a little more variety. If it was a normal pitch where Akshar's slightly flatter trajectory could have been more beneficial. I think Bangladeshis will be finding it more difficult to read the wrist spinner more and gives you more wicket taking option. Also, I feel in Kuldeep, though the batting may be a little slightly short, but I think Kuldeep can hang in there and contribute something to the maybe the upper end, other end batter to give him a bit of support. But definitely these two changes I will look at, one of the seamers to rest and get Yash Dayal and another for Kuldeep.
Okay, and Gian, for you, three spinners, two pacers for so far for Rohan. Are you sticking
I
with this
think
combination for Kanpur?
Yes, I think same only. I think not many changes have to just say. I might agree that Bumrah, I think we need to preserve him actually. He's going to be the like 90% of the game is going to be dependent on him, especially in Australia. We had missed him big time last time around, and we are going to be needing Bumrah, so we need to preserve. And I really don't think he's not going to be needed on such a game against Bangladesh, especially. And where it's black soil, and obviously it's going to be a 75 to 80% of the time. I think it's going to be spinners who are going to be
Yeah.
crucial. And if Akashdeep is doing well with the ball, really don't think we would really need the likes of Bumrah. So yeah, rest Bumrah. And I think for me, but I think it's just 50-50 between Axar and Kuldeep. But and I think both of them, if either of them is picked in that 11, I think they are going to give their 100% for sure. I mean, we have seen Kuldeep also, bat well, as Rohan can mention that their batting might look short, but it's not short because Kuldeep has improved his batting quite a bit,
Mhm.
and he can hang in there. And Axar Patel also, we know, like even if he
He's
doesn't pick a
quality
wicket, he
bat, I
can
must
be
tell you.
very good. And he can, like, if we are struggling 6 down, 7 down or something, we know that, oh, there is a batter coming in, like a proper batter coming in at number 9. So I think, yeah, either of them work actually. There's no sinking in that. One of them is obviously going to get picked. That is for sure. So I think one of them is like they are one of this definitely going to work out for us.
Okay, so both of them are going with three spinners, I must tell you. So let's look into the predicted playing 11 for India. Rohit Sharma, Yashasvi, Jaiswal are the openers. Shubman Gill at 3, Virat Kohli at 4, Rishabh Pant at 5. Then you have KL Rahul at number 6. I'm sticking with him once again. Ravindra Jadeja, Ravichandran Ashwin at 7 and 8. Kuldeep Yadav at 9. Mohammad Siraj and Akashdeep are the two seamers, according to me. 10 and 11, set 11. Similarly, Orko, Bangladesh. I think first of all, I think they need to look into 4 back-to-back left-handers in the top 4, which is something Ashwin will definitely love. He did that the same in the first innings. Do they need to change their formation a little bit, or are you still backing them to go with the same playing 11?
Yeah, I think they need to address the spin problem firstly because Shakib hasn't been getting much of bowling into him and his batting also hasn't been doing pretty well. So if he even plays as a genuine batsman, then they need to get another spinner, who can pair with Mehidy as well. Mominul also has been bowling a bit, but I still believe that they need another spinner. Maybe
And
Taijul
and
could
we have
be
also
the
seen
answer.
Taijul has been so successful against India. I was really surprised not to see him play at Chennai.
Exactly. I think Taijul hasn't done anything wrong in the recent past, and I think he's someone they would look at sooner than later. And if they really want to break that little, that four left-hander kind of scenario which comes in a consecutive fashion, I think they need to promote someone like Litton Das a bit ahead. He bats at 7, and I don't know why. Maybe they can try him at at number 3, number 4.
For
Play him
yeah.
up the order like he plays in limited overs for them, and he would do no wrong. And if you just tinker with that, look at the wicket which has fallen. If a left-hander has fallen, try to bring in a right-hander, and make a scenario specific adjustment. I think that will work for them because I don't see much batting options available on the bench as well. So I think
True
that's
that.
what they need to do.
So Taijul Islam should be the first priority, Rohan, according to Orko, and similarly a little bit here and there when it comes to top four. Maybe promote somebody like Litton Das up the order. Are you sticking with the same?
Yeah, I agree. Taijul can be your option in case Shakib isn't completely fit, but it's more in the mind. I feel it's how they overcome the demons of what happened in Chennai, and also being a bit more proactive and aggressive because I think there were a lot self doubts were happening when as soon as certain wickets fell, maybe the couple of wickets as Akashdeep had rattled them. I think they just couldn't get over it. I think all these factors, it's a lot in the mind. How they played against Pakistan, it's completely different. I think they're coming to know how or what is actually the difference playing a Pakistan and India. I think that little step up, they weren't quite ready for it. So it's a lot more in the mind also for a Bangladeshi team, I feel. That's a huge factor for them. But changes or not, I think it's end of the day how they adjust to the conditions and making use of the opportunity they are creating. I think they're just not
Mhm.
able to push through the door. I
True that.
feel India is kind of because of the depth they have in the resources. I think they're able to get over the line. I think unless Bangladesh can address these issues, I think they'll still fall short.
Okay, and Jian, for you, Taijul Islam for sure has to be in the 11.
Definitely, definitely. I mean, no brainer, as you mentioned. Like he's been performing well against India, and not only India. Like he's done well for them in red ball cricket, especially. And not only with the ball, he can like bat and hang around
Just
for a
like
while
Kuldeep, I
also.
think he can hang
Yeah,
around
I
for a
think
while as well.
just kind of Kuldeep, but like yeah, you can say yes, definitely. But he even scores runs. Like I've seen him score 25, 30 odd runs, and hang around for a while with if there is a batter with them, and add that tail ending runs, and he can frustrate the bowlers definitely. And yes, even he's a good left arm spinner, and he's done well.
True
He's
that.
taken good amount of wickets also. So I mean, I was really surprised that they had it. But again, Shakib's absence is going to be a major blow to Bangladesh. Of what I mean,
We have
and
to wait
also
and see. But I'm sorry to interrupt you, Jian, but we have to wait and see and what happens. Definitely did shock you, Taiju not playing at Chennai. India was certainly sure they will play three seamers. I wonder before the toss when the Pacers of India were marking their bowling lineups, did Bangladesh decide to play three seamers as well, watching India do the things as well?
maybe it was just mind games. That is what, according to me, what I feel is. I think it could be mind games definitely. And we know, like Gautam, we are the likes of Gautam Gambhir as a head coach. We are going to face a lot. We are going to see a lot of such mind games coming in definitely.
Nobody knows
And
it more
we
than
can
Orko, I must tell you.
exactly, and you need such kind of a coaching mindset in your staff department. So I was saying, for according to me, what Bangladesh missed the trick was Shanto's captaincy for Shakib. He just didn't know when to bring him on. And when he was
Exactly.
supposed to be coming on, I think he came first innings. He came after some 35, 40 overs. I mean, that is not the
I
time to
think he
get him
came so late that it was just
very
too
late. Like I think
increased
it
the over
was
rate, I must tell you.
Ashwin
Rather
and
than it was
Jadeja,
increased to
like it
big
was
wickets.
completely agree. Ashwin and Jadeja were already in the flow. I mean, it didn't really matter who was coming to bowl that time. I think when Bangladesh missed the trick when India were reeling, three down. I think for 40 or 50 odd for three we were, and I think that was the right time to bring on Shakib immediately. Because the
True
way
that.
you could say in the second innings also with the way Rishabh Pant was smacking Shakib Al Hasan here and there. I mean, it was not shocking, but it was like if he's not respecting like a bowler like Shakib is coming in front of him and he's scoring 15, 20 runs in Test cricket in such a big senior player. So it is difficult when you have an inexperienced captain in the form of Shanto
True that.
who can't
And
know
we
when
and
to
you
change those
promote
bowling,
somebody
etc.
like a Shakib Al Hasan who has been over the years for more than a decade. Fair enough. But talking about the Bangladesh predicted playing 11, I'll go with this more or less the same team. Shadnam Ismail and Zakir Hussain are the openers. Shanto at number 4, Mominul Haq at number 3. Then you have Litton Kumar Das at number 6, Mushfiqur Rahim at number 5, Mehdi Hassan Miraz at 7. And then you move on to the Pacers along. I go with two Pacers. I think Hassan Mahmood and Nahid Rana should be the two pacers, along with Taijul Islam as the third spinner, according to me. And you have Mehdi Hassan Miraz at number 8, to be honest. I think it's a good 11 if they can form it. If they're once again focusing on what India are doing without without strategizing and thinking how they can win the test match, I think that will be curtains for them as well. I'll stick to what Gurpalji taught me in the first test. Starting with Rohan, how many days will this test match wrap up?
I think also weather will be a little bit of a key thing. I feel there's a bit of a rain around in Kanpur. So again, and not to forget, sometimes it gets darker also towards the end of the day, sooner there. I'll say 4. 4 days is good for India, and take a last day off to get ready for the T20s coming up.
Okay, so 4 days is what Rohan says. Orko, if you're saying 4 days, then you have to mention the session too.
Maybe before tea. I think they are not going to go much farther than that, because I know that they have not been very competent. And even if you look at the options we have on the bench, if by chance we do bench our senior players among the bowling lineup, at least I think we still have enough firepower to dismantle them. And I think Kanpur wouldn't be anything easier for Bangladesh either, because it can be a pretty tricky track. People often struggle batting over there, at least in the first few hours of the day. And if it continues to stay damp and moist in terms of weather, it'll only be difficult for Bangladesh to cope with.
Okay, so you're going with a little bit more than day 4, moving into the afternoon session. Jian, are you saying the same, or are you going a little bit bold and saying day 3?
2.5 days for me. 2.5
Two and a
days.
half days. India to bat once in the innings is what Jian says for sure. If it's 2.5 days, 3 people have said their 3 predictions. Experts all over here. Thank you so much, all 3 of you in total. Thank you to all the viewers for watching this one. All 3 of them says without a doubt, clean sweep India. 2-0. India is winning. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe to the Fifth Umpire. Press the bell icon as well. Second test, India versus Bangladesh, all the way from Kanpur. Sit back and enjoy.